be characterized by the same kinds of movements. Weather and climate hasn't been much studied, but can be now. And circadian variation is an area that I'm studying. Dysregulation looks like it has very important associations with four conditions: mood disorders, obesity, diabetes, and cancer. And I don't have enough time to go into it now, but you can answer questions if you want. I'll stop there. Thank you.
That's good. So what about the use of drug like Chantix to stop smoking?
So, the use of drugs in smoking cessation is incredibly important because the point prevalence of success at smoking cessation at 1 year is only about 5%. In other words, someone just says, I'm quitting. I have quit. I stopped smoking today, and I quit. 1 year later, if you come back to that person, 5% will have succeeded. However, if you, in succession, apply a number of methods, the first is counseling. Simple counseling at least doubles the rate of success. Then nicotine replacement, again, doubles the rate. So you're going to get up to 15-20% by nicotine replacement. Then first-generation drugs like bupropion that also help a lot. The best of the drugs is Xanax, which actually goes to the nicotinic receptor and is very effective. Now, the problem with Xanax is that it had one of those black boxes that, because apparently people had a variety of nasty side effects, which may have been related to genetic subtypes. And I believe, and I'm not up on the very latest list, that the FDA removed some of those restrictions recently. But Xanax is a pretty effective intervention, and the combination of counseling and multimodality drug use can improve smoking cessation success to the range of 50%. So it's clearly effective, and I would say that anyone who's contemplating smoking cessation should definitely get counseling and try one or more of these methods to maximize their success. And also, if they tried in the past and haven't succeeded, that doesn't hurt them at all. Each successive chance improves the chance that they'll succeed. So it's tremendous health benefits of quitting smoking at any age.
You mentioned outliers. How do you deal with that? Because sometimes those are the ones that are taking your method and significant to remove it and so on.
So it depends on the kind of outlier. And statisticians have a variety of techniques for dealing with outliers. I guess for epidemiologists, the most common technique is grouping. So you may have someone with an incredibly high dose of something, and you just group that person. Yeah, quartiles and quintiles, and look at risk by quartiles. So there's a number of statistical approaches to deal with outliers. You also worry about the quality of the data. So yeah, it's not usually a big problem. Oh, yes?
Yeah, I was wondering, I'm not necessarily are there, whether or not some of the techniques?
So that's a great question. And I think the key items are that slide I showed earlier on, but the quality of the control group, the size of the study, and the confidence intervals. It's really important. You don't want to just look at the p-value, but the confidence intervals. So a statistically significant result should not include 1. So, for instance, you might say an odds ratio of 5, but if the odds ratio is 5 and the confidence intervals are 4.5 to 5.5, that's a very strong result. If the confidence interval is 1.1 to 20, you really want to look at that study carefully. I think, the main thing is read the methods carefully and, kind of be suspicious. Look and see if they quote a response rate. How many people actually participated in the study compared to the number that were invited. And then the other thing is covariates. What did they adjust for? I feel kind of bad for people that look at these studies that don't know the details, because many times I see, we adjusted for smoking. And I look at, how did you adjust? And they said, well, we adjusted by saying they were a smoker or a non-smoker. Okay, so what that means is you looked. How did you treat former smokers? Okay, they're at risk. So you took current and former and non-smokers. Did you adjust for each one as an indicator variable? And what about the strongest variable associated with smoking-related disease is the duration of smoking. So if you didn't take duration into account, then most of the effect of smoking is still there, even after an adjustment for current smoking. So you have to think, wow, smoking is still the most important thing. So if you did a biomarker study and you just adjusted for current smoking, still, duration and quantity and intensity of smoking are the main drivers. And you never know that. If they say, we just have smoking. Sorry, I pulled my teeth. So I put my email there, and you have my handout. Any questions, don't hesitate to email. Thanks a lot.
Okay, we have one announcement. That being we're going to be doing the pathology core visit right after this next lecture. So people can just wait out in the hall, and then I'll walk you over to Building 10. I don't want you to get lost. Building 10 is very complicated. So our next speaker is Haobin Chen. He got a MD degree from Shanghai Medical University in China. He got a PhD degree from New York University. Subsequently, he was a research assistant professor at New York. Then he did a medical residency in Brooklyn. He came to NCI in 2013 as a clinical fellow in the thoracic and GI oncology branch, and now he's an assistant clinical investigator. He's going to tell us about small cell lung cancer. Over.
Yeah, thank you so much, Terry. And thanks for the previous lecture. So it really kind of helped to let you know that smoking is actually the most important environmental etiology of the lung cancer. So today, actually, I'm going to talk about the small cell lung cancer. So here's a little bit of background information about myself. As Terry mentioned, that actually I had medical education in China and then came to the United States for a PhD education. And I always wanted to be a physician scientist, so that's why I kind of came back to do the residency training and then fellowship training. So about 3 years ago, I did the exact same thing as you're doing right now by attending the TACO courses. And I learned a lot, and I feel really honored to be here to give a talk on the small cell lung cancer. All right, so yeah, let's get started. So this is the outline of my today's the talk. The lung cancer can be roughly divided into two major types, small cell lung cancer and non-small cell lung cancer. So the later also include the three histological subtypes, including the lung adenocarcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and the large cell carcinoma. And Dr. Szabo is actually going to give you a talk on the non-small cell lung cancer in the next month. And the reason to classify the lung cancer into small cell and non-small cell is because small cells behave very differently from the non-small cell lung cancer. Small cells tend to metastasize very early in its course, and the prognosis of the patient with the small cells is also much worse compared to non-small cell patients. And small cell lung cancer comprises over 10 to 15% of all lung cancer cases. And it is a smoker's disease. So the patients with small cell lung cancer actually almost always have decades of tobacco smoking history. However, in recent years, the patients with lung adenocarcinoma can also develop small cell lung cancer after EGFR tyrosine kinase inhibitor treatment. And these patients are usually non-smokers. And the small cell lung cancer is a neuroendocrine tumor. So one unique feature of small cell lung cancer is that it can be associated with the paraneoplastic endocrinopathy, such as Cushing syndrome, which is due to the excessive production of ACTH by the small cell lung cancer cells. All right, so the morphology of the small cell lung cancer, you probably have already figured out that the small cell lung cancer got its name because the size of the tumor cells are small. So small cell lung cancer is also known as the old cell carcinoma, and on the pathology slides it looks like old grains, and it is a small oval cell with a scanty cytoplasm. So on the pathology slide here, and the arrow actually points to the small cell lung cancer cells, and the arrowhead actually points to the lymphocytes. So as we know that the lymphocytes are very small cells. So in this case, the small cell lung cancer cells are just a little bit bigger than the lymphocytes. Small cell lung cancer cells are very sensitive to chemotherapy and radiation therapy. However, the problem is that they develop a resistance very quickly. So in the 1950s, researchers have found that the nitrogen oxide compound can actually shrink small cell lung cancers. And later, the cyclophosphamide was also found to be effective in treating small cell lung cancer. In the early 1970s, so several randomized clinical trials proved that the combination chemotherapy can extend the patient's survival compared to the single agent chemotherapy. In the 1980s and early 1990s, the platinum and the etoposide doublet established its role as a first-line therapy. Unfortunately, in the past 30-plus years, it remains to be the first-line chemotherapy. This is not because of a lack of trying, but just that we haven't been able to find a better chemo regimen than platinum and etoposide. And the only second-line agent approved by the FDA is topotecan. So here I do have a question. Does anyone know what's the mechanism of action of etoposide and topotecan? Okay, good. All right, sorry. All right, so etoposide actually is the topoisomerase 2 inhibitor, and the topotecan is the topoisomerase 1 inhibitor. So in small cell lung cancer, the topoisomerase expression are much higher than compared to the normal lung tissues. All right. So the small cell lung cancer can be kind of classified into two stages, limited disease stage and extensive disease stage. So the difference is that whether the disease can be covered by a single radiation port or not. So if the disease is limited to just one side of heavy thorax and it can be covered by a single radiotherapy port, so we call it a limited disease. And the treatment for the limited disease of small
small cell lung cancer should be radiation plus systemic chemotherapy. However, if the disease is more than one single radiation course, then it's an extensive disease, and the treatment should be systemic chemotherapy. So if a patient with an extensive stage of small cell lung cancer has a response after first-line chemotherapy, then we tend to give a patient a prophylactic cranial irradiation. And the reason is that the small cell lung cancer can spread to many different parts of the body. However, brain is a sensitive site of the chemotherapy, so the chemotherapy agent cannot reach a high concentration in the brain. So when a patient has a recurrence and the brain is a common site. So in the 1990s, the meta-analysis shown that the PCI prophylactic cranial irradiation can actually improve the overall survival of the small cell lung cancer patients with a complete remission from the initial therapy. In 2007, a New England Journal paper demonstrated that by randomized clinical trial, the prophylactic cranial irradiation can decrease the brain metastases and improve the progression-free survival and overall survival in the patient with extensive disease small cell lung cancer and with a response after the initial chemotherapy. And on the right-hand side, I should show the Kaplan-Meier curve of overall survival in patients with or without the prophylactic cranial irradiation. So the dotted curve shows the patients with PCI, and the line here shows the patients without the PCI. And you can see the difference of the overall survival. So in 2012, the U.S. Congress passed the Recalcitrant Cancer Research Act. So in this act, it actually requires the NCI director within 18 months to develop a scientific research framework for the cancers with a 5-year survival rate of less than 50%. And at a sense of urgency, the act also requires the NCI director to identify 2 or more cancers with a 5-year relative survival rate of less than 20%, and also has the annual deaths of over 30,000 in the U.S. So only like 2 cancers meet such a criteria. So first one is the pancreatic cancer, and the second one is the small cell lung cancer. So small cell lung cancer has less than 7% of a 5-year survival rate, and there's about 30,000 deaths of the small cell lung cancer in the U.S. Each year. So in 2014, NCI published a scientific framework for the small cell lung cancer. So in this framework, it actually identified 4 main obstacles to progress. So the first obstacle is that the small cell lung cancer can develop decades after smoking cessation. So meaning that although you have a lower risk of developing lung cancer, the risk is not back to like a non-smoker, as mentioned by the previous speaker. The second obstacle is that the small cell lung cancer tends to metastasize to other places at a very early course of its disease. And this actually makes the surgery less effective in this cancer type. And the third obstacle is that although the small cell lung cancer is sensitive to radiation therapy and chemotherapy, over like 95% of the patients develop a resistance very quickly. And the last obstacle is that there's a lack of tumor tissue for the clinical, molecular, and cell biology studies. This is partially because surgery is not a very effective treatment modality in this cancer type. All right. So I'm going to talk about some basic information about the cancer biology of the small cell lung cancer. So because of the time limit, it's not possible for me to talk about every aspect of the small cell lung cancer. So I'm going to focus on the genetic abnormalities of the small cell lung cancer. So the first, the genetic abnormality of the small cell lung cancer being noticed is the deletion of chromosomal region 3p21. So in the 1980s, several groups actually made a big finding that the chromosome 3p is commonly deleted in the small cell lung cancer. So on the left side actually show the staining of metaphase chromosome 3 in 5 different small cell lung cancer cell lines. So on the left side is actually the chromosome 3 has a normal length, and on the right side it shows the shortened chromosome 3 in the cell lines. And here actually it's kind of specified what region of the chromosome 3p is deleted. So a common reason that's shared in all these 5 cell lines to be deleted is actually chromosome 3p21. So the later study actually has found that chromosomal region 3p21 is not only deleted in the small cell lung cancer, but it's also deleted in more major type of lung cancer, as well as other epithelial cancers such as cervical cancer. Interestingly, chromosome 3p deletion appears very early in the course of the lung cancer genesis. So in the pre-cancer lesion, you can also find a deletion of the 3p. Actually, I have just listened to an interesting talk given by Dr. Thomas Reed of the genetics branch at NCI. So he has found that chromosomal 3T deletion is also present in the precancerous region of cervical cancer. So he actually is doing a clinical trial to test whether these can be used as a biomarker to detect the precancerous lesions of the cervical lesion at high risk of cervical cancer. I want to point out that, because the 3T deletion is very common in the small cell lung cancer, it kind of suggests that there may be a tumor suppressor gene in the chromosome 3T that's important for the small cell lung cancer pathogenesis. So there's a number of candidates, such as FAP1 and the RESF1, but the exact the identity of these tumor suppressor genes is still unknown. Sorry. All right. So besides the chromosome 3T deletion, the chromosomal 13q and 17t deletion are also very common in the small cell lung cancer. So the retinoblastoma gene, RB, is actually located on the chromosome 13q. So Dr. Frederick Kay actually asked this question back in 1980, whether RB is lost in the small cell lung cancer or not. So here is a nodal plot of results taken from his paper. So in the top part of the picture actually shows the nodal plot results of the RB scanned by the RB probe, and the bottom part shows the results from the beta-actin probe. So here the density of the band shows the abundance of the mRNA. So the first column is actually the normal lung cancer, normal lung tissues, and the number 2 to number 6 are from the non-small cell lung cancer. 7 to 9 are from the carcinoids, which are also neuroendocrine tumors of the lung with a lower malignant potential. And from 10 to 16 are from the small cell lung cancer cell lines. So what he observed is that there's a lots of RD expression in the carcinoids as well as in the small cell lung cancer cell lines. So he actually extended this study to many other small cell lung cancer cell lines, and the results were shown in the panel B. So here in the panel B, 1 to 2 belongs to the non-small cell lung cancer cell line, and 3 to 12 are small cell lung cancer cell lines. So as you can see here, that the RB is actually lost in most of the small cell lung cancer cell lines. During the same time, Dr. John Miller also looked at the P53 mutation in small cell lung cancer. So P53 is located in the chromosomal 17q, which is also commonly deleted in the small cell lung cancer. So what he found is that the P53 can have many different types of the chromosomal abnormality in all types of lung cancers. And here is a table that shows that the P53 can be deleted homozygously, or it can have a different size of mRNA due to the truncation, or it can have small or point mutations. So I would like to point out that back then we don't have genome sequencing, so he actually used the RNase protection assay to detect the small point mutations in the P53 genes. So here on the table, it's kind of specified that H187, H345, and also H378 do not have any detectable mutation. But these days we know that there's still like small point mutations in P53 genes in these small cell lung cancer cell lines. All right. So as I mentioned, so we know that RT and P53 genes are commonly inactivated in the small cell lung cancer cells. So the question is that whether these lots of tumor suppressor genes, all these mutations are causative to the small cell lung cancer, or it's just a passenger mutations. So this is the evidence provided by Dr. Burns at the Netherlands, that if you delete the RT and P53 in the airway of the mouse cells, it actually can generate the small cell lung cancer. So what they did is they actually they injected the pre-containing adenovirus into the trachea of genetically modified mouse model, so that they can conditionally knock out the P53 and RT genes in these mouse. So about 2 months after the intratracheal injection of a pre-containing adenovirus, you can see the hypoplastic lesions present here. And this is HLE staining, and on D panel shows the DRGU staining, which shows that these lesions are highly proliferated. So if you wait for 6 months after intratracheal administration of the pre-containing adenovirus, small cell lung cancer then develops. And importantly, the small cell lung cancer developed in this mouse model behaves similarly as small cell lung cancer in humans. It metastasizes very early and very easily. there's a long latent period to develop the small cell lung.